I represent Chariho Regional School District, and I have been asked here tonight to answer certain questions in terms of the qualifications of one of the former members of the Chariho Regional School Committee to serve as a member of the school committee. The issue before us is whether or not Mr. Felkner continues to be qualified to serve as a member of the committee. And it's kind of appropriate at this time of year that, frankly, that we're talking about this, because we all know at a national level we've elected a member of the U.S. Senate to be president. And I think everyone would agree that Barack Obama can't be in the United States Senate and president at the same time. Now, Barack Obama has made the decision to resign from the Senate early, but the fact is, as a matter of law, the minute that he raised his hand on January 20th to be sworn in as the President of the United States, he could no longer be the U.S. Senator from the state of Illinois, even though the people of Illinois in 2004 voted for him. Now, the question before this committee involved the election of a former member of this committee to the Hopkinton Town Council. And it's my understanding that yesterday Mr. Felkner was sworn in as a member of the Town Council. Now, the first place to look is at the Chariho Act. And as an aside, I am pleased to inform you that the revision and the review of the Chariho Act has been completed. I forwarded it to Mr. Ritchie today, and I'm sure that he will be disseminating it to you in the near future. The Chariho Act says in the event, and I'm looking at section 10(1)A of the Chariho Act, says in the event of any vacancy by death, resignation, or incapacity to serve of any term of any member of said regional school committee, the town council of the member town in which the vacancy occurs shall fill the vacancy by election by a majority vote of the town council of said town for the unexpired term of the member whose office is thus vacated. Again, let's go back. It talks about death, resignation, or incapacity. The issue before the school committee tonight is Mr. Felkner's capacity to serve as a member of this committee, having been elected to the town council. That's all that the Chariho Act talks about in terms of membership on the Chariho School Committee in terms of qualifications. The next place, therefore, to look is the Hopkinton Town Charter. And there are two provisions of the Hopkinton Town Charter that are applicable. The first section is section 2130. And section 2130 defines who are elected officials in the town of Hopkinton. And it states town council members, school committee members, town clerk, moderator, town sergeant, director of public welfare, district moderators, and district clerks will be elected. The second provision that is relevant is section 1240, which is entitled Multiple Office Holding. That section has 3 sentences, and I will read them one at a time. First sentence, no, and I underline the word no, elected member of the town government shall hold more than one elective or position in the town government at the same time. It's the first sentence. Second sentence, there's 4 sentences. Second sentence, no elected member of the town government shall at the same time hold any position by virtue of an appointment by the town council or town manager. Second sentence is inapplicable in our case. Third sentence, appointed members of town government may hold more than one appointed position if the town council fails to find and appoint any other town elector to the vacant position, which is not applicable here. And the final sentence is, membership on boards or commissions that act as representation of the town of Hopkinton in regards to the school district shall not disallow that elector from serving on another board, committee, or commission in town government. So we have 2 sentences. One that says no elected member of the town government shall hold more than one elective or position in the town government, and we have the other section that says membership or boards on boards or commissions that act as representation of the town of Hopkinton in regards to the school district shall not disallow that elector from serving on another board. The question is, how do we read these? There are some people who want to focus on just the first sentence. There are some people who want to focus on just the last sentence. What we have to do is focus on both sentences. And is it possible to satisfy both sentences? The answer to that question is found by going back to the Chariho Act. The Chariho Act in Section 12 talks about a finance committee and a building committee. And the finance committee and the building committee have appointed representatives from the town councils. So you can read the two sentences consistently in that someone can be a town council member and they can also be an appointed member of the building committee or finance committee, but they cannot hold two elective offices under the Town of Hopkinton Town Charter. In addition to that, I did some further research. Rhode Island, like the federal government, recognizes what's known as the doctrine of incompatibility. And I talked at the very beginning of this presentation about Barack Obama. It is incompatible for Barack Obama to be the U.S. Senator from Illinois and to be the President simultaneously. Rhode Island recognizes the doctrine of incompatibility. Indeed, we've recognized it since 1887. And our Supreme Court stated it is well settled that when a person accepts an office incompatible with one which he then holds, he thereby impliedly resigns or vacates his former office. That's what we have here tonight. Now, one of the things that I look for as a lawyer is, can I find similar circumstances? And frankly, I cannot find a Rhode Island case that is identical to this one. When you can't find a case in your own state, then you look at cases from elsewhere in the country. And I found two other states that have wrestled with this exact same issue, Georgia and Washington. They both said you cannot serve on a town council and a school committee at the same time. Now, the question is, well, how are they incompatible? And I thought about this. And I again went back to the Chariho Act. Is there something that would come up that is inherently incompatible between being on a town council and being on this school committee? There's lots of, we can have disagreements. This town feels this way, this person feels that way. But is there something not specific to the person, but to the office? And the answer to that question in the case of Chariho is yes. Again, I go back to the Chariho Act. And Section 18 talks about how the community would withdraw from the Chariho Act. And how does a community withdraw from a Chariho Act? The Chariho Act talks about the appropriate, that withdrawal has to be approved by the appropriate method of said member town seeking to withdraw. Well, what do they mean by the appropriate method? I went from the Chariho Act to state law generally, and I also looked at how the Chariho School District was originally formed. It was originally formed by the electorate. Well, as a council member, Mr. Felkner would be in the position of having to decide whether or not to put on the ballot in the town of Hopkinton whether Hopkinton should withdraw from the Chariho Regional School District. It is incompatible, having nothing to do, and it's not directed at as a person. It's the fact that someone could, on the town council, put forward a question for a vote to withdraw from the regional school district. There are certain other criteria that have to be made, but a vote is one of those criteria. That makes it incompatible